Hello everybody. So today we're going to make felted soap, and immediately you might be wondering what felted soap is. Felted soap is basically a bar of soap with wool felted around it, and felting, the technical term for felting is massive entanglement. So what that means is that all the fibers are shrunk together, tangled up, and it's basically a fabric. So normally you're trying to avoid felting, like I don't know if you've ever put a wool sweater in the washing machine, but it shrinks, it's tighter knit afterward, it's basically ruined. But in this case we're going to use felting to create a washcloth, a natural washcloth with soap already inside of it. So the first thing you do is get a bar of soap and some wool. And so this here is called roving. It's just carded, basically brushed, cleaned, washed, and then dyed wool. And I'm just going to wrap it around this bar of soap. And my goal here is to wrap in a few different directions and also to not have any bald spots. So if there were any bald spots, then you'd have the soap showing through on your final project. So, and you can have fun with this, you know, if you have different colors, you can mix and match. But like I said, you just want to go a couple different directions and make sure there's no white bald spots of that soap showing through. So this wool is kind of like the glue of our project. We're going to make the glue dry in this shape, sort of. That's a bad analogy, but it kind of works. Anyway, so you don't have to do this, but it makes it easier and it looks pretty. We're going to take a little bit of wool yarn here and just wrap it around the soap. That's what gives these that kind of like starburst pattern. So again, I'm just wrapping this up to hold the wool in place, but also it's going to give it that kind of pretty star pattern. This does actually make it quite a bit easier as you're felting. It holds it together a little better. You can do whichever kind of pattern you like. Yeah, I'll go with that. So now I have my little bar of soap ready to be felted, and basically what we're going to use to make this felt is water and soap and agitation. So first thing you do once you have it to this point is hold it under the water until all the bubbles stop coming up. And that's all the air that's trapped in the wool escaping, and you'll see already it's shrinking a little bit as it gets kind of soaked in the water. So the first thing I'm going to do is just squish it to the bar of soap. So the goal here is just to kind of start the felting, but also to keep the wool close to the bar of soap, keep it together, because in a second we're going to start rubbing it, and we don't want to rub it off of the soap and have, again, those bald spots or have it all kind of loose. Though if you use warm water, it felts faster. Like I said, once the soap starts lathering, it felts better. And you can see it's already lathering at this point. So now we're at this point where we want to do a little bit of this rubbing action. But even better, what we'll show you today is kind of a neat little trick. So this is especially useful if you're doing like an arts and crafts project, but also if you're doing it on your own. What we're going to do, now that this soap is already it's like shrinking, you can feel it start felting. We're going to put this soap in a Ziploc bag, which is going to do a couple things for us. It's going to make it easier for us to felt it, but it's also going to make our project mobile and mess-free. So at this point, you just rub this soap like this for about 15 minutes, and you're going to end up with, I mean, you can even see already it kind of looks like this, but after about 15 minutes of rubbing, it's going to be thoroughly felted, and then you just leave it out to dry, and it makes probably one of the best gifts I can think of, handmade, and definitely unique. So if you want more information, just go to artbyeve.com, or if you're one of those Facebook types, go to facebook.com/artbyeve2, the number 2. And there's lots of pictures and information on there about felted soap and felting and even more than just that. Alright, thanks everybody.